That's right, some breaking news in business this Monday morning. Now, this involves Airbus and Japan Airlines. And the reason this is so important for Airbus is it's the first time they're really making a major break into the Japanese airline market. Now, these are pictures from Tokyo of the heads of Airbus and of Japan Airlines talking about the deal. And what we know so far, what they've already told us in this press conference, is that Japan Airlines will be buying 31 of Airbus's A350 aircraft. That's their the new one that they only launched officially recently. These jets would have a list price of about $9.5 billion, although they always end up paying a bit less, of course, because they do some good deals. But it's a very important moment for them, because while they've managed to sell some aircraft to smaller airlines, Japan Airlines and All Nippon Airways, the other big one, have eluded them so far. So Fabrice Bregier, they're the chairman, the chief executive rather, of Airbus, obviously very happy about this deal.
Hopefully they'll be a little bit bigger than the one that we're seeing there as well. Any impact on shares in Japan Airlines?
Yes, we've seen Japan Airlines shares moving up. They were up over 2% in trading this Monday. Now, if you put that against what's happening generally in the Japanese market, and in fact all of the Asian markets, as you can see there, they've all been slipping back. The Chinese market's still closed for a public holiday. But really what's continuing to worry investors is the fact that this shutdown in the US is now moving into its 7th day. No real sign that they're going to get a deal done. And of course, this looming debt ceiling problem. Meanwhile, companies like Lockheed Martin, for example, they're a defence contractor. They're saying that they are going to themselves send 3,000 workers home this Monday on unpaid leave, because they are waiting to get confirmation that the US Defense Department really is going to go ahead with certain contracts. Well, that man there, Jack Lew, was talking on the Sunday political talk shows in the US, and he was talking about the danger, particularly of this failure to raise the debt ceiling by the 17th of October.
The reality is that if we run out of cash to pay our bills, there is no option that permits us to pay all of our bills on time, which means that a failure of Congress to act would for the first time put us in a place where we're defaulting on our obligations as a government because of Congress's failure to act.
Now, the government shutdown means that President Obama has cancelled his big trip to Asia this week, hasn't he?
Yes, he was supposed to go there on about a 4-day trip. The first stop was going to be Indonesia, Bali in particular. Of course, he grew up for a while in Indonesia, so I'm sure he was looking forward to that. Yeah. But he's had to cancel it because of the shutdown. He was supposed to attend this APEC summit, and that's the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum. Now, it's an important deal for the US. The US was hoping to push forward an important and large free trade deal between 12 countries, as Oliver Farry now reports.
The Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit started on Sunday on the Indonesian island of Bali. It's an event of increasing importance, involving, as it does, the world's 3 largest economies, China, the United States and Japan. But the main absentee was US President Barack Obama, who stayed at home to deal with the federal government shutdown. He sent Secretary of State John Kerry in his stead. Other countries present were understanding.
I think I'll have to agree that President Obama has to attend to the government shutdown. The U.S. economy is the #1 economy in the world. What happens there affects all of us.
The summit sees negotiations to expand the Trans-Pacific Partnership Free Trade Zone from 4 to 12 countries, which would account for 40% of global trade. The bloc was established in 2005 by New Zealand, Singapore, Brunei and Chile. The United States, despite Obama's absence, is determined to press ahead with the negotiations. New Zealand Prime Minister John Key is in no doubt that expanded free trade can only be good for all countries involved.
There are still opponents to free trade in New Zealand, but we would say look at the facts of what's actually occurred in the last 30 years in New Zealand, contrast that with the rhetoric of those that are opposed, and I think the opportunities speak for themselves.
But a notable name missing from the Trans-Pacific Partnership is China. It has decided to go on its own and negotiate individual agreements with its trading partners.
Well, that APEC forum wraps up on Tuesday, so we'll see what progress they make. Meanwhile, just to finish off, Stuart, more details coming in from Airbus, that Airbus Japan Airlines press conference. As we were saying earlier, 31 aircraft have been sold by Airbus to Japan Airlines. That's a list price $9.5 billion. And Some good news, perhaps, an option as well to buy an extra 25 airline. Of course, all this very bad news for Boeing, who've been hoping to be the ones to sell their 787 Dreamliner, which has had so many problems earlier this year with batteries. Perhaps that's what's playing out here.
Perhaps it's the wobbly cameraman as well. Can he keep the shot still? Anyway, Matthew, thank you very much, Matthew, with Business. Now, tackling a drainage